live, the Power Hour on competitionplus.com. Be sure to check out www.competitionplus.com for the place that you can believe what you read on the internet for drag racing news. I'm Lee Kraft, aka the Monday Morning Racer, and over there is Mr. Bland. And tonight we've got two that will be racing in Chi-Town this weekend.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. I hate that it's the one race a year that they go there and that action is on that track, but should be a fun weekend.
Absolutely. I would love to see more happening there. I think we can dive into that discussion, with Chris. He lives in Chicago. It's right in his neck of the woods and grew up in that area, and also just talk about it later as well. I think that it is great. We've got this one event. It would be great that there's more, but also I'm a firm believer that the national event tracks always don't have to have local programs. Let's take ZMAX, for example. There are plenty of great North Carolina drag strips that if ZMAX had a weekly program, it would pull away from their programs.
Yeah.
And what could take place and does take place there. So I think there's a balancing act, but I know those in that greater Chicagoland area, they're hungry for more places and more opportunity. And I do get that. I think, though, in a roundabout way, drag racing might just be the saving grace of that entire property, not just the drag strip. Well, let's talk to Chris about it here in just a few moments on the Competition Plus Power Hour. Be sure to hit the like button and the share button. And folks, all this is brought to you by Weldon High Performance, and we'll plug them in just a few moments later on in the show. But we've also got someone that sponsors the show that is a mutual sponsor of Mr. Fireman over there that is going to be racing his Competition Products, not to be confused with Competition Plus, Competition Products Funny Car. He's next.
Competition Products, your source for hardcore engine parts for street, strip, and oval track. Our free catalog is packed with hundreds of product lines from the best-known manufacturers in the performance industry. Lowest prices guaranteed. Free shipping and handling on all orders over $149 in the continental U.S.
Need expert advice? Our knowledgeable staff is just a phone call away.
Competition Products, race parts sold by racers since 1970.
And with us live, Chris King on the side of the road. And no, ladies and gentlemen, he is not pulled over by Indiana state troopers.
Not yet. Not yet. How's it going, Lee? Dusnay, good to see you. Like you said, I'm on the side of the road. We had just left Brownsburg about a half hour ago, stopped for some fuel, and then, I lost track of time. It's time to jump on the side of the road and talk with you fellas.
All right. Well, good. We'll not let you hang out there with the thumb up in the air for too long. Talk to us, about, the new rig.
Well, as you can see behind me, we got this beautiful new 18-wheeler. It's old and it's been around, but it's new to me. And we just got the vinyl done about an hour ago, thanks to Nitro Alley Graphics in Brownsburg. It's going to help our operation a lot. We can safely take all of our equipment. Now we're not overloaded. Plenty of room for activities, as they would say. And it's nice. We got a few things to work on. It's older, but it's working out really well so far. And now we're just going to get it up to Chicago and fix some things when we get there.
What's your off season been like? I know you guys had a lot of thrashing going on the season before. Is it pretty much of the same with this season, or were you guys a little bit more prepared outside of having to organize the new rig?
Well, now that Bob's been our crew chief for a year, he's a little bit more organized and comfortable with what was going on with the car. Of course, he took it back to the shop and rebuilt the whole thing, freshened the program, clutch department, head department, got some new parts and pieces. Our inventory of parts is tripled. So Bob's done a great job over the offseason. He's been real busy. My life's been kind of a roller coaster in the offseason. I got promoted at work, so I had to rearrange my early year racing schedule. My wife got hurt. She broke her leg and shattered her heel, so I've been playing Mr. Mom and nursing her. So it's been busy and hectic, so I haven't been able to give the race car as much attention as I wanted, but that's where Bob and the boys come in. They've been clutch to get this thing ready to go.
Speaking of getting things ready to go, it is my understanding that it was your intention to go earlier, but things got in the way, and this is actually your first start of the 2025 season. So give us the breakdown on delaying your start.
So we were going to race Gainesville and Charlotte, but like I mentioned a little bit ago, I got promoted at the fire department to the rank of lieutenant, and we didn't know when that class was going to start. And unfortunately, they decided to start it on March 4th. So I had to cancel Gainesville and go to promotion school for 8.5 weeks, Monday through Friday. And so we did that, and we were hoping that they would give us our assignments a little sooner than they did. And we were planning on going to Charlotte, but I didn't get my new assignments until 2 days before the class was over. And unfortunately, that was like a half a week before Charlotte. So Bob and I decided to push that off and focus on Joliet. Then the next kick in the butt came. My son, his graduation from college, they said it was May 18th. I'm like, oh no, that's race weekend. That's Joliet. I have sponsor commitments. I have family and friend commitments and things like that. So we talked about not going to Joliet, but then Bob and I decided that we have to go. We have to have the car on the track for the fans. We have to have the car on the track for the sponsors. So we're going to run qualifying Friday and Saturday, put on a show, get some good numbers and get our data so we can come out swinging in Norwalk and be competitive. So we're going to make everything we can for this weekend. It's just unfortunate that we won't be able to compete on Sunday, but family first. This is a huge moment for my son. I'm very proud of him, and I wouldn't miss that for the world.
Yeah, that is a huge moment. Proud dad moment right there. Since that kind of changes your plans, what is the plans for you guys this weekend? Since you don't plan on racing on Sunday, what are you guys looking to do on Friday and Saturday through the 4 qualifying sessions?
So we got a new fuel system on the car, and we got to go out and make a couple 300-400 foot hits right away. The math all works out, so we should be in the ballpark, but we want to have that first hit, be safe, and make sure the fuel's flowing the way we want it to. Then we're going to get after it, Q2, 3, 4 possibly. The plan is to shut it off early or pull the chutes early to slow the car down so that we don't end up bumping somebody else that's racing or trying to race on Sunday. If by chance I do qualify unintentionally, there's nothing I can do about that. We're going to go out and do what we need to do, but we're not deliberately going out to try to set fast laps and try to knock anybody out. So like I said, Bob's going to clip me off where I'm going to lift and throw the chutes a little bit early to slow the car down. And however it plays out, it plays out.
So a test session in front of hundreds and thousands of people there at Route 66 for you, keeping those sponsorship obligations and figuring things out that much more prepared for the next race.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't necessarily call it a test session. It's more of a show. We're here for the fans. We're here for the sponsors, and we're going to put out a good product and give them a show. That's what it's all about. I try to do what I can to make the fans happy, to make my sponsors happy, because we're always trying to find more sponsors and more fans so we can hopefully take this operation full-time someday.
What's your comfort level like coming into this race, but looking ahead, now that you kind of had a crew chief, been around a bit, and the operation's been going and slowly progressing? It seems like you guys have a little bit more parts in hand. That helps out a lot. What's your comfort level coming into this thing as you kind of kick off your season?
Well, just like anything, you got to shake the cobwebs off. That's what the first session is going to be about, taking a hit and, probably clipping it off 400, 500, 600 feet, depending on what Bob wants to accomplish with that one. But it'll be nice to get back in the car. It's just like riding a bicycle, You're a little shaky at first, but you remember what you're doing real quick the minute you strap in that car. So that first hit's always nice to get out of the way. And then it's just like being back at home. I'm really looking forward to it. It's long overdue with everything that's been going on in my personal life with work and the home. It's going to be a nice getaway just to get back in that race car and focus on what I really, truly love.
Well, Chris, have we worked it out where you'll actually have a fire truck as like the tow vehicle? Have we got that worked out yet? Or emergency vehicle of some type, out there?
There are so many cool things that I've presented and want to do, but I'm not getting like any traction or interest from people. But other people get the interest and do it without the firemen. I don't get it. But you and I have talked about this, Lee. I don't know. I'm trying to do everything I can. I just don't get the backing and the support as other drivers and people do. But that's not going to slow me down. I'm going to keep pushing forward and keep trying to do what I do, because I know I got a good product. I know I got a great story. The fans love it. The people love it. I just wish that we could get a little support on the back end to help push that story.
Yeah, somebody's got to get on board with that. I mean, it's a total missed opportunity there. There's so many great things that could be done with that for sure.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So many things. It's so easy too. You know, it's a quick phone call to the fire department. We've done several things with the fire department in the past with, firefighter experiences. We did a cookout with Mission Foods at Joliet Fire Department, but a lot of people didn't even know about that we did that stuff. And we tried to push it as much as we can, but we just didn't get the media push that we were hoping for. But it was cool stuff. Everybody loved it. So those are the kind of things we want to do. And as a first responder, I like being out there with my brother firefighters. They all love what we're doing. I get support and messages from firefighters around the world on Facebook and Instant Messenger and all that stuff, wishing me good luck and, telling them to give them hell and represent the boys. So it's nice. Everybody supports it. We just got to find that golden horseshoe that can help us make the next steps and really do something with it.
Well, Chris, look, we know that you are competing in the NHRA. A hot topic right now, though, in the drag racing world is the International Hot Rod Association. And we keep getting more and more info, and yet there's folks that they don't have a lot of confidence. Some are certainly very confident. As an independent small team owner with a Nitro Funny Car, what is your thoughts when you look and survey what we've got from the IHRA? Is it appealing? Is it a turnoff? Are you going to throw your hat in the ring type of situation?
We are watching it very closely with high interest. Depending on what goes on with it and scheduling, we may jump over there because it seems to be a little bit more fitting for a smaller, low-budget team. The payouts are a little bit better. The car fields might be a little smaller, and that's something that really helps people out like me. We rely on that qualifying money and prize money just like everybody else does, but we don't have the huge budget. So we are very, very interested to see what's going to play out with the IHRA, and we're considering it, but we'll tackle that road once they get their feet underneath them a little bit more. Like, everybody's watching and curious what's going to happen, but we're open to it.
All right. Yeah, that sounds about right. I was thinking that as well. For people with small teams, if it all goes well, that would be a great opportunity for people like yourself to make a little bit extra cash and also still kind of be able to do your thing and come out to the NHRA races as well. I really hope that this whole thing all works out because I think it's a huge benefit for people like yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. Guys like me, Jack Wyatt, Dale Creasy, Bobby Bodie, him and his dad, I know they'd probably jump at that opportunity too. But, there's a lot of guys like me struggling to make it out here to the NHRA events. People don't understand how hard it really is. I've been told my whole life I would never make it happen, which motivated me more to do it. And just to be on this stage with the best of the best in the NHRA has been a blessing, but I want more. I got my taste of it, and now I want more. So whether that's with the IHRA, NHRA, we just have to see how the cards fall and what happens. But, I just want to race my car. That's all. I just want to go fast, shake and bake.
Well, Chris, you mentioned the sponsorship obligations and partners, this weekend going into it and its importance. Who are those sponsor and partners that you have that are old and new?
So I have some really great partners that have stuck by me through thick and thin ever since I started. Howard's Cam's Competition Products. They have a big group coming down from Oshkosh, Wisconsin this weekend. So we're going to be entertaining them, and we're forever grateful for the support that they give us. And then NGK, they help us out huge. So we're going to be there representing NGK. Reed Rocker Arms, Daryl Reed's been huge with developing the Nitro Rocker Arm for us. And a lot of crew chiefs are starting to look at them and may even consider running them. So that's helping Daryl's business. Impact Safety's been great helping me out. I was over there today picking up my driver's suits for some fresh looks and some maintenance done on there. So Eric has been phenomenal with Impact. And then we got Goodson Tools. and equipment, as well as Gates Belts, and a new company out of the Joliet area. It's called Heat Hydraulic Energy Applications and Technology. A guy named Robert runs that, and he's bringing a big group of people down. We're going to cook out and enjoy some nitro racing. So it's going to be great. Friends, family, sponsors. It's local. It's my hometown track. And, we're going to have probably 30, 40 people a day that we're going to be entertaining, and they're going to get a taste of nitro. And that's what it's all about.
That's awesome, man. Super excited for you guys. And hope you guys have a really awesome weekend this weekend and able to accomplish what you're looking to accomplish to catapult you guys into Norwalk.
Yeah, I'm excited about it. Like I said, I just want to get back in the car, make sure everything's right. And, we're going to come out swinging at Norwalk, and then watch out for Indy also. We're going to try to qualify again. We're going to try to get some round wins this year. I mean, there's no reason why this little team from, Chicagoland / Brownsburg can't do it. We got great people. They're dedicated. They're passionate. We got great parts. I got one hell of a talented tuner, and he's real passionate about it too. So all the parts and pieces are in place. We just got to get a little bit of luck and get this car on the track, and you're going to see some magic happen.
Absolutely. You've been going about it the right way. It's taking baby steps with where you're at, but those baby steps have brought you miles along in the time and the program. So keep up the good work, Chris.
Yeah, I'm trying. It's frustrating. It's hard. There's been times where I wanted to throw the towel in and just say, the hell with it. Why am I even doing this? Because you hit so many obstacles and hurdles, but then you get one whiff of positivity from a fan that reaches out, or guys like you that support what we're doing. And it motivates you to keep trying and digging harder. No matter how hard it is, you just got to keep digging. So, I'm not going to say it's easy, man. I'm stressed. I'm tired. I'm frustrated. But when it comes down to it, I got two of the coolest jobs in the world. I'm a fireman and a fuel funny car driver.
Those are very cool. Well, if people want to follow along on all the coolness of Chris King, whether it's firefighting or driving that funny car, where can people follow you, Chris?
So we're very active on social media. You can check out our Facebook page at Chris King Racing. We're on Instagram at Funny Car Fireman CK, and Twitter, Squad 1 Firefighter CK. Everything's got a little bit of tie to the fire department in there, but we have a very good social presence, and we try to interact and respond back to people. So go ahead and give us a check out on social. And if you're in the Joliet area, come on down, say hi. We'll be standing at the rope, signing autographs, talking to people, touring the car. And who knows, if you're a first responder, we'll let you sign the car and maybe even sit in it.
All right. Sounds good.
Sounds good.
Awesome.
Absolutely.
Thanks, guys.
Well, Chris, look, get back up in that rig and get down the road, man.
Absolutely. We got about 2.5 hour drive. I'm in Pittsburgh right now. As you saw, the SCAG vehicle just drove by. So all the teams are starting to head out, and we'll make it to Joliet tonight, park the truck, and then I'm going to drive home and bring the rest of the junk tomorrow.
Safe travels, buddy.
All right. Take care, Chris.
It, see you soon. Thank you.
Chris King definitely been doing it right, been getting it in baby steps. But again, you keep making baby steps and you're going to go miles. And he has absolutely done that. And I like that, hey, with my real job, if you will, and family, working these things out, yet continuing to move forward in his program. So that is great that Chris is getting it done. And it just fascinates me, Dugenais, that he has not been able to pick up something out of the emergency response world to partner with his program in a more impactful way than what we've seen so far. Astounding.
Yeah,
there's marketing departments that are missing out on opportunities.
Yeah, it's a huge opportunity missed. I mean, you think with the community as big as it is, it's really the firefighter community is similar to the military community, and the fact that no one has bid on this thing yet is wild to me. But they're missing out on a really good opportunity to do something fun and really draw attention and I think get people engaged.
Right. Look, let's be honest. the fire chief's not doing anything else in his big Suburban he's got. He can let it be loaned out to be the tow vehicle for the weekend down at Route 66 Raceway for a funny car. That would just be a spectacular. He can wear his dress blues. I'll just use that, and he can be out there and be chief in his Suburban and tow Chris around. Like, come on.
Exactly. Come on.
We can get that done. We can get that done. Well, Dugenais, we've got Miss Taylor in the green room, so we'll transition, get her on, chat with her. She's got a big weekend at Route 66 Raceway for the national event, even though she's doing much more beyond NHRA drag racing. So very interested to chat with her in all that she has going on in, well, not just drag racing, but motorsports and hot rodding in general and specifically. So with her, Peak, big partnership. And we're glad to have Peak as a part of the Competition Plus Power Hour. So a word from Peak, and then a lady that is certainly at the peak of her game.
If you want to take your vehicle's performance to new heights, you got to give it Peak. Like our original equipment technology, antifreeze and coolant, our formulas match the vehicle manufacturer's technology requirements so that we have the perfect match for every vehicle. That's one reason why Peak is among the fastest growing brands of coolant in America. We work harder to earn the trust of people like you every day.
Alex Taylor, welcome to the Power Hour. Good to have you tonight.
Thank you. I'm glad to join you guys. I appreciate it.
Well, we appreciate you working it out. Thank you. And got a big weekend ahead of you, but you're no stranger to big events, whether they, are on, national television or not, or some streaming outfit and out in the middle of nowhere at a checkpoint. You're used to big events.
We do stay pretty busy, but this one is always a fun event for us because we actually, the 7 other racers that we race with, we are usually racing with them at drag and drive events, which are just very, very high, fast-paced, high energy. And so this is always a fun event because we get to actually enjoy having a pit and enjoy having our trailers and get to hang out. So this is a big weekend, but it's a fun weekend for us. So we're looking forward to it.
So I'm going to ask a one-off question. I was watching a video of yours today, and you were working on the Camaro, kind of zip tying things together. First of all, is the Camaro in good shape? Do you have all the parts, and is it back to, its pristine condition? And how is the truck with all the dents?
So it's funny you say that because I was not going to make that video because it's so it's nothing like we normally do, but it was kind of fun. I was like, I called that and I was like, I have an idea. I'm going to zip tie my Camaro together. And he's like, why would you do that? And it's because we never get hail. I'm very lucky where we live. We don't have a lot of bad weather, but we got a nasty hailstorm, and my truck, which I had kept inside all day to keep it from happening, it got destroyed. It actually already is fixed. They were able to do paintless dent repair. Those people work magic. I don't know how they do what they do. But in the meantime, I was like, well, I should drive my Camaro. And so I just for fun, I did arts and crafts on the car, but it started a spiral of a project. And my mom got all my parts ordered for me. She found them all, front end, bumper, headlights, and everything. And then I actually just had a call today with another partner of mine who watched the video. And they're like, do you want to do something with that? I'm like, yes. Been waiting for it too, but we'll see. So it's not painted yet. It's still in zip tie glory, but it is driving, and it is well.
Cool.
Yeah.
How many zip ties?
Too many. I will give the people that do that some credit because it's harder than it looks. I just thought I was going to go in and zip tie some stuff together, and that's it. It didn't work out quite like that.
There's zip tying engineering involved, point to point, and
there is 100%, because you get one zip tie off at the bottom, now you got to cut them all back off and fix it somewhere midway. I'm just saying, try it.
There you go. Well, if I can put it this way, your main hot rod certainly doesn't have any zip ties on it, except maybe at the end of a drag and drive week. But clue people in that may not be familiar, we definitely have a NHRA national event type heavy audience of what your car is and what you do with it.
Yeah, so the 55 looks very, very rough on the outside, but the kind of events that we do they're called drag and drive events. So originally this started with Hot Rod Magazine's Drag Week. It was the only event like this in the country for years. And what the premise of it is you take your street legal race car. It was designed to prove who had the fastest street car. So that's where the event initially came from. Hot Rod Magazine, David Freiberger, they created the event. And the idea was you say you have a street car, you say it's fast, prove it. So the events have evolved very much since then. There's actually over 50 drag and drive events now across the country, across the world. They're in Sweden, they're in Alaska, they're all over. It's amazing how much they've grown. But the 55 we built in 2021. I started with Drag Week in 2013. I had 68 Camaro. It only had an 850 cert though. My dad was racing his Nova. He had a 750 cert. We just had this crazy idea the beginning of 2021 after all our plans were set. And it's like, let's build a car that we can go sixes in. And now that's a big thing to say. I know it's not easy to go sixes. We knew it wasn't easy to go sixes then, but we just meant let's build something that we have the intention of being more of a race car rather than a street car. And by that I mean it's still street legal, but it's like my 68 Camaro I drove to high school, so I wasn't going to be driving this one to high school. So this 55 we built it from the ground up. It was just a very, very poor condition body that was sitting behind Dad's shop. It'd been there for a couple years and built it from the ground up. It's got now it has a 25-1 chassis cert. We've been 660s with it, 669, 200 mile an hour. It is street legal. It's licensed, insured. It's got almost 11,000 street miles on it. So we basically, on these events, we have 4 different tracks over a 5-day period. We start at 1. We race that day. You turn in your quickest ET and you're going for your quickest average over the week. And then you drive, after you turn your pass in, you drive 200 to 300 miles, do it again the next day, the next day, and the next day. So you drive about 1,000 miles each event, no support, only what you can carry in the car and a small trailer, and you don't have a pit crew. It's just you and your co-pilot. So for me, it's me and my dad. And they're a very fun event that is really gaining a lot of traction.
They are a lot of fun. A couple of years ago, I think 2-3 years ago, I was a part of the streaming team with Hot Rod Drag Week and talked to you briefly at the beginning of the week. And I stayed back at Worldwide Technology Raceway, and Finnegan already had his fiasco festering of not being able to start pretty much. So that was an interesting one. But it is so fun and intriguing and interesting what Drag and Drive has done. I feel like at one point, drag racing and hot rodding separated, and you got like pure drag racing and then street rodding, and it had nothing to do with drag racing and vice versa. But Drag and Drive has brought it back together, and it is very cool.
That's a really good way to put that, and not necessarily in a way that I had thought of prior, but Drag and Drive is one of those, like, it used to be a freak show. Like in the early years, I remember in 2013, 2014, and I wasn't there at the very beginning of it, but 2013, 2014, it was like you told somebody at PRI or SEMA, like, oh yeah, I do Hot Rod Drag Week. Drag and Drive wasn't even a term then. And it was just this, what is this? And it wasn't as respected as it is now, and understandably, but now it's very cool that, you've got so many different groups. You've got Sick the Mag and stuff like that. Hot Rod's still pushing, and it's actually growing into something. And I think it's a great way, just like with NHRA, you have different levels and people can work their way up. Drag and Drive is the same way. You can bring out your stock daily driver car and you can work your way into, the 6-second range if you have the dedication and the time and the budget and the lack of memory to remember how rough it was the year before. They're hard events. So.
Yeah, it's cool. I think what was it, last year? I think I was headed to Florida, and then Lee had told me about it, and I've seen him talking about it, doing some things on it, and I'm driving down the road and I see these cars and I'm like, that's interesting. And then I see another one, I'm like, oh, that's interesting. And I'm like, wait a minute, this is the Drag and Drive crew. I mean, it was so many of them. It was the coolest thing ever to see I love the concept. It requires it's a lot of skill involved because you have to drive. You not only race this car, but then you have to drive it to its next event. It requires skill to do, and it takes you back to like just grassroots drag racing. And the cars are just so unique. In some forms of racing, I think that uniqueness is missing.
I appreciate that because it's one of those where I always love seeing, people, because drag racing at the end of the day it's all got the core love for, what we do. But, and then people don't always understand there's different segments of drag racing. And so it's really cool. And that's something that's been really cool with getting to do the streetcar shootout the last couple years is, NHRA is obviously such a highly respected stage. And so it's cool to get to bring drag and drive over there and kind of show them the different cars that we have. And, I don't know if Tom's going to have his 1.0 or 2.0 here, but that's a 5 second. It's been 5s if he brings 2.0 or a 6 second car. And, we've got multiple 6 second cars all the way to Ed Enser, who's got his Mustang naturally aspirated, super fast car that he drives on the street. But I can't even remember how fast he is now. I think he's knocking on the 6s, like low 7. It's just a very impressive car. We got a really good group that we get to show off this week, and I'm proud of the crew that we assembled. So, and I'm really happy to bring it to the NHRA stage. That's a big honor.
Speaking of that, give us the rundown of what you all will be doing. It's not the first time this has happened at Route 66 before, but give everyone a sneak peek of what they can expect, and then just give us your fan experience and interaction at an NHRA national event. I know some folks have got to look at what's going on and go like, huh?
Yeah. So the Peak Streetcar Shootout, the setup that we have right now is we're going to be doing 2 exhibition or test passes on Friday. And then on Saturday, we're going to do 1 more test pass. And then we're going to do our format that we're going to do is just, 8-car shootout. So then 4 will advance to the next round, which would be on Sunday, 2nd and 3rd round final on Sunday on race day. So the plan right now, if time allows, I understand how live TV works, but we'll do 2 passes each day, 2 on Friday, 2 Saturday, and then 2 on Sunday. On that first pass on Sunday, even though technically it's semifinals, we're going to try to run all 8 cars exhibition. 4 of them will be in the semis, and then just the last run will be the final. So we'll all be pitted together, and I don't even know where to reference on the map, but it will be on the asphalt behind, I don't even know, past the grandstands, behind the grass, still on the asphalt. I know we got some Top Fuel bikes around us. I believe Pro Mod's behind us, but we're mixed in with a really cool area. Something fun that I haven't showed anybody, we just decided to do a little fun collaboration with Peak this year, and the drivers, we designed baseball cards for each of the drivers. So if you go from pit to pit of all of our 8 drivers will have a fun little baseball card that you can stop by and grab, and it'll just be a good time. So we'd love to have the fans come by and look at the cars. And every year that we've been here before, you guys the NHRA fan base is great. Everybody has such a, they got a lot of energy, and it's awesome getting to talk to everybody and explain what we do and show them the car. So hopefully you guys will stop by.
So, see, Drag and Drive has cards. NHRA doesn't have cards.
We don't have cards. This was mine and my sister's idea.
Hey, it's a good idea. Caleb Cox, who's already been in the chat, and he's general manager at Cruise Petragon Racing, has been pushing for cards in NHRA for, like a decade now. So, show the NHRA how cool it is, and hopefully I get, a deck of cards.
My sister's works for me. She does graphic design, and so we were just spitballing. I was like, "Why don't we do some baseball cards? Like that kind of sounds fun." And so we'll see. We've not tried this before, but
I like it.
think it's going to go over well.
I like it.
So
well, go ahead, Dujanay.
What is your involvement with the Not Bland Show's sponsor, Drag Race Bracket Bonanza this weekend?
You know what? I have to be honest. This is totally new to me. I've seen it on social. I have seen it pop up. I've seen Peak share it. Bob over at Peak messaged me, or Steven, I can't remember. One of them messaged me. And they're like, do you want to be a part of the bracket bonanza? And I think my words to them were, I don't know how it works. I have seen it.
She's going to win.
Sign me up. But I got to do my homework. I should have done my homework before this. I wasn't ready for the question.
Oh, you're going to win. You don't need to know anything about this. This is super easy. It's like picking, NCAA bracket, only just drivers in the 3 classes that will be there. Yeah, I got a feeling she's going to win, Lee. This is
no pressure. Okay.
Hey, first timers seem to have, that ability of.
Okay.
And look, if you just pick your peak partners, you've got a good shot of winning.
Yes.
Just period. Okay, like just put Jack Beckman and Austin Prock, if they're on different sides of the ladder, in the final, and Brittany winning it. You'll be in pretty good shape, I think.
Perfect. Okay. If I end up in a decent spot, I'll give you the credit. I gotta do my homework tonight, but I'll be ready.
Speaking of peak partners, and Peak being partnered with John Force Racing for a long time, last year, for a while now. Last year, you were able to hang out with them and connect with them, and even sit in the funny car, those type of things. You look at NHRA drag racing at that level behind the scenes. What were your thoughts? And we do have folks in the comment section asking if you'd ever consider fuel racing.
So the first part of that question, it was a super cool experience. So I understand how busy race day is. And so when Peak was working to set it up, I was very hesitant because I was just like, I don't want to get in their way. I don't want to cause a problem. They're like, no, this is normal. Like, it's not a problem. So he really pushed, Brian from there really pushed to have me sit in John's car and warm it up. And knowing how stuff unfolded after that, I'm so thankful I had the chance to warm his car up when I did and to get to talk to them. And it was very cool because my dad, also I raced with my dad, and so Brittany racing with her dad. We had some really fun conversations about there was a lot of relatability and just a lot of different similarities and like places that we were in our life and stuff. So it was very cool to get to chat with them, and they came over and looked at the 55. We got to check out their pits, and it was cool getting to walk up to the line and watch them both run. And it's cool to be on a team, the Peak squad, the Peak family. And so Peak does a really good job of, even though it's totally different levels, they make it feel like a family. And it was a very big highlight of the weekend. So that was a lot of fun. But as far as your second part of the question of would I ever consider fuel, never say never kind of thing, I have said that for a long time. My end goal is not necessarily that's not something that I'm actively in the process of trying to do. I love door car stuff. I would honestly love to drive a pro mod. That's what I would like to do eventually one day. But if the opportunity presented itself one day, or I saw a path to it, I'm not opposed to it. So, but I've always tried to be of the mindset of rather than just having like an end goal in sight, that I know what I love doing. And so I'm okay with zigging and zagging and seeing what cool doors and opportunities open along the way.
All right. Wes Buck, if you're listeing, you need to find a pro mod.
He knows
for
this.
World
knows
Series
this.
Pro mod. Like, come on, okay, let's go. Let's go. And by the way, look, if we can get you in a Southeast Gassers Association ride and you're interested,
I was thinking that.
Okay, let me know.
I actually am with that as well. I love I don't know if you saw the Willies that we just did.
I know Smokies. You gonna be doing the Smokies?
No. It's
come on.
I know, but the Willies, I am excited. That's where that's what I got involved with drag racing is, because my dad was doing like nostalgia gasser racing, and I got a bunch of friends that still do it. But the 41 Willies, that it's got a 392 blown alcohol Hemi, just old school cool. And I am going to get to drive it. We're going to test. We're just going to test, but it's I'm almost more scared to drive that than something fast, so.
Gotcha. Oh yeah. No, I understand. I look in covering the Southeast Gas Association for years now, working with them. It is amazing the drivers that are there and what they get done with that old school platform with modern technology and the weird mixture that it is putting on such a great show. Those guys are driving. It is not easy to drive those cars.
I have a couple friends like the low horns and watching them. I'm just always like, well, there he goes doing the thing, they're cool. They all put on a good show. They do it, and have fun. And it's got so much of it's just old school cool. And I love it. So no, I 100% would do something like that. I don't know if I could drive like them. They're good at what they do.
So I'm gonna backpedal a little bit.
Okay.
Lee, she tried to act like, oh, I was just driving that Camaro to high school. It's not like my Camaro that was making 1,200 horsepower. Okay.
Yeah.
Like we wasn't making that kind of horsepower. We were lucky to have like 500. She's like, I was just driving that to school. It was just 1,200 horsepower. That ain't, it's just an old Camaro. It ain't no big deal.
It snowballed. So it's funny. The deal was always that if I got my college paid for, my parents would help me buy a car when I graduated. But we kind of reversed that around. And so my mom had this 68 Camaro that she was driving, had a little bit of a fender bender. So just not her fault, the brake issue. And so the car was sitting in the back shop for a little while. And so they made the flip deal. They're like, if you'll be here to build it and you'll help build it and you still get your college paid for, you can drive this to high school kind of thing. I grew up in a small town, so that was doable. Started out just like a naturally aspirated, very simple car. And then I'd always wanted to do drag week, and Dad was just like, what if we build the Camaro to do drag week? And it just snowballed. And then over the years, it turned in from just an LS, it's still a nice car. It's still cool. It's 68 Camaro, but just, a very simple platform to, then it was turbos, and then it was bigger turbos. And then, before I knew it, when I graduated, I think I was running I don't know if I ran probably shouldn't say this. We ran 830s a couple times, had an 850 cage, but I don't know if that was after I graduated or at the time, but it was an 850, 860 car at least sitting in the high school parking lot. So it was cool. It was very cool.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
It wasn't intentional. It was just one of those things. It's the snowball,
Yeah.
Yep. More horsepower is always needed.
Yeah.
Always needed. Well, Alex, look, as we wind down our time with you, you have done a lot in the drag racing world, especially drag and drive, interesting projects on Hot Rod and TV and shows here and there. You have been on the Salt. I have not been able to get out there yet. That's something I certainly want to experience. So, twofold question. One, what is the Salt like? And two, is it racing?
Oh, that's a good question. So that is a really good question. So the Salt is it's one of the coolest experiences I've ever had. And if you ever have the chance, I highly suggest doing it, because land speed racing, think of El Mirage or Muroc or just the dry lake beds or the Salt. That's where hot rodding and innovation happened. It still does, but it's so cool to go out there because you have those people that are names that you hear in our sport. They're out there racing. And I remember one time somebody told me, they're like, all the fast drag racers end up on the Salt. Whether that's true or not, I don't know, but I wanted to be out there. And the Salt is a magical place. It's just hard to describe. It's very slow paced compared to drag racing. Very, very, very slow paced. But it's one of the safest places I've been. The crew there, they make sure you're buckled in, your helmet's on, they do a double check before they send you down the Salt. But the surface, my first year that I raced there, was a sloshy mess. So it's just you're driving on the edge of spinning constantly. Last year we had a much better surface. So it's just, you've got this big wide area, and, instead of doing 200 for a mile or less than a quarter of a mile, you're such fast acceleration, you're doing 200 or whatever your speed is. I was doing 200 plus for 2 miles, and it's just a very, very different feeling. But as far as racing, that's a hard question, because if land speed racing is not racing, then neither is, I guess you would say, like drag and drive is not necessarily racing, because we're not doing head to head competition, but you are racing against the clock. You're racing against this ET. So I feel like I call it land speed racing because you're racing yourself and your goals and the records that are set. But it is, I don't know, maybe it's, I actually do struggle with that. Sometimes I'll say racing, sometimes I say time trials. So I don't know. That's a great question.
I like the viewpoint. I do. That's interesting.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a hard one, but it's just, if you get to do it, do it. It's harder to watch. I think it does give me a respect. Like drag racing is much more, even driving. Drag racing is more of an adrenaline rush. Like I get out and like I feel like just like a rush of excitement. And for me, land speed racing is slow in comparison, even the driving. And so it's just like you get out and you're like, this is very cool out here. You know, like you're much calmer. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you know, the evolution from Salt and, you know, El Mirage to airstrips and things like is, as you mentioned, it's a spectator aspect to it that, well, you can't watch 2+ miles. It's very challenging, but you can watch a quarter mile. You can watch an eighth mile, and you know, packaging it in that way, that certainly was a part of the sport and the safety aspect and everything. So, well, cool. Before we let you go,
yes,
what's out there on the horizon? Big project, you know, interesting ride. Give us a bit of an insight. Don't have to spill all the beans, but what should we be looking out for with Alex Taylor Racing?
Well, that's a great question. We have the regular like race stuff coming up. We've got the Six Summer, the drag week, all of that we normally do. But as far as like fun stuff, I am trying very actively to ship a car across the ocean right now to race a drag and drive in Sweden. Insurance is an absolute nightmare. It's just it is so hard. So if everything goes right, there's going to be a car leaving our shop while we're racing in Chicago. And if it doesn't go right, I won't be doing that in July. But that's a fun event that I'm working on. We have, when Motor Trend closed down earlier this year, I bought a bunch of cars from the show. So I bought the Savoy, a 72 Nova, and a 32 Roadster. And then I bought a 34 sedan just as a project car that Dad and I are working on. So we have a ton of projects and different events that they can all go to. And this year has just been a really interesting year with Motor Trend closing. It was honestly, like, I miss the people I worked with, but it's been really good for getting to do different stuff. And so this year, kind of like, I'm just figuring it all out again I have this time, I have these projects. So, and right now my biggest focus is getting my shop done. I have been doing drywall for forever, and I see doing it for forever currently, but I'm trying to have that done soon. So, I don't know. Right now I've been hyper focused on, I've talked to more insurance companies than I want to talk to for the rest of my life. So that's my focus right now. I haven't seen past that.
All right. Well, look, enjoy Chi-Town this weekend, and we'll certainly keep tabs on Miss Taylor and what's going on. Thank you for your time tonight.
Appreciate you guys. See ya.
Thank you.
Folks, Alex Taylor Racing. Give her a follow if you're not already following. You probably should be if you are not. And I'd be cool to see her in a pro mod and a gasser, and why not a fuel car? I think she fit well at John Force Racing funny car.
Yeah, definitely. She can pretty much, I mean, she's driven everything. So, I mean, it's like, you know, why not?
Yeah, and, you know, the 55 is one cool piece. So they've had some interesting moments with it, like blowing the glass out and having to, like put it back in duct tape and pop ribbons and things of that nature. You know, drag and drive. You got to get back down the road, and it is a cool piece in its own right for sure. Well, folks, we're going to transition. We're going to shift gears here on the Competition Plus Power Hour. If I was doing Sega Live, that would be the G-Force transmission spot, the official 4-speed transmission for the Southeast Gases Association, but we don't have a transmission spot here on competitionplus.com. Somebody step up and be the official shifting gears part of the show. We will take a break, though, and transition on to just the rest of the show where we spitball on this upcoming weekend, the past weekend, and things in drag racing. So, who's this all brought to you by? Weldon High Performance. Word from them. Well, Dujanay, I think, honestly, we might want to just pick up where Andrew is already leading us. I think that's a great place to start, honestly. And IHRA, we've got developments from this time last week into this week. So maybe they had things planned. Maybe they were listening. I don't know, but we do have more information. Granted, I think it's still not quite the information that we were looking for or wanted, and rather, I'm not even sure necessarily needed right now. But we have a schedule.
Yeah, we have a schedule. Looks like the start of this thing is going to be July 9th through the 12th at Columbus, Ohio at National Trail Raceway. They'll move on in July between July 23rd to 26th at Mulan Dragway in Michigan. They'll go back to Columbus, Ohio in September 3rd through the 6th. That was your spot for the President's Cup with the MIR, which they decided no, they're not doing that. Then they'll go to Dragway 42. I've never seen any Top Fuel cars at Dragway 42, but that'll be interesting. And they'll go to Galat. This is very cool. The layout. Dave, you've got your snowmobiles. I will say I think there still is a little bit too many classes. With that said, though, some of these classes are, different. You've got the Hemi Shootout. You've got the Top Fuel Harleys there. I like the fact that you have Top Dragster. And I like the 8-car fields with most of your top stuff. Top Fuel Funny Car, Top Alcohol, and Top Alcohol Funny Car. I think that is appealing. And when you look at the payout, Lee, I mean, to be honest, if I'm a Top Fuel team, if I'm a Top Fuel team, and I discussed this with Dave W., we were kind of talking about this, if you're Coletta Motorsports and you're right there in Michigan, you go over there and make yourself a little bit of money. I mean, it's worth it to go over there just to try to qualify. I mean, people are getting paid. You're coming away with something. First round is a good chunk of change there, bud. I mean, I don't see anybody losing in this aspect. And like we talked about earlier, for a guy like Chris King, you look at the Lex Junes, Dan Mercier, Kyle Wartzel. You even talk about, Spencer Massey driving, I don't know how her name always escapes me. Krista Baldwin's car. Though you can go out there and try to make a little money, and that might help you a little bit if you want to do a few more or be more prepared for the few races that you might do with the NHRA and be able to have yourself a little bit more parts, etc. Pay for fuel, whatever the case may be. Mm-hmm. But I think this whole thing, with the way they've got it laid out, and if the purses are what they are, it's very enticing for your small teams. It's enticing for those who run Funny Car Chaos. Those who like the match race might get them to come out and put on a show. And if you got a 16 cars or 15 cars, it's an 8-car field. So the drama is there. Somebody's getting bumped. Somebody's going home. So I think there's a whole lot of cool things that are presented here when we're looking at this IHRA Outlaw Nitro series.
A lot of positivity just in the dropping of the schedule, and hey, we're going to attempt to do this. I disagree with Drag Racing Mayhem. They can easily make up even the nitro fields, the Top Fuel, Funny Car. They're out there. We may not see John Force Racing show up to these events, but this is certainly going to be appealing to a Larry Dixon with his car, whether he's driving it or not. It's going to be appealing, I think, to a Luigi Novelli and whoever might hop into that car, or Leverage Racing, or as you mentioned, right down the road, you've got someone like Coletta Motorsports, and let's call it a glorified test session and go out and compete and get some data and get ready for the next race. That's no different than what would have happened back in the day in IHRA when you did have back and forth between NHRA and IHRA. And at one time, some might have even considered the NHRA to be the test place for a brief time in chasing championships. And as Dave W. has put in Lex June and Krista Baldwin, they're public with their interest. And in talking with Lex, all the way back even before PRI, there was interest of something going on with that. So I don't think they're going to have an issue with filling fields, especially with the 8-car format and with many of them. I just would like, as I have said before, I'll stick to it. I would like to see these classes be different. I do wonder about 500. One segment of that in what they are proposing as classes that I do think they actually will not feel is the 500 cubic inch variety of Pro Stock. I just Mount Motor Pro Stock, I don't think they're going to have a problem. But 500 cubic inch, I think they're going to have a problem because so many of those are competitors that I feel they're dying the wool NHRA, that they're not going to run their programs in the IHRA unless some type of backdoor deal is made. And when I say backdoor, I don't mean anything nefarious, but just like, hey, we're going to give you some show up money type of thing. I don't see Elite or KB participating in any shape, form, or fashion. I don't.
There's not enough 8 cars outside of that to even make that field. There's no more. It's not like not like nitro cars sitting around. It's not like, if I got a little bit of cash, I can call Buddy Hall. He's got a dragster sitting there waiting to be run. And all these other smaller teams that can't make all the races for an NHRA race. You don't have pro stocks just sitting around waiting to go. Like, that's not happening. So I agree with you on that. I don't see that. I don't know why you would even add that. Just do the Mountain Motor Pro Stock, leave Pro Stock out of it. You know what I mean? You could cut. I don't see why you need all the super stock and all of that the same, but there are cars out there to fill that. And I believe when they cut out all the nitro, that was kind of their baseline, right? That was what they were doing anyway. So I guess I can kind of see those things. The snowmobile is actually interesting. I don't think they'll have too much of a problem with the other stuff. Plenty of top dragsters out there. I noticed Drag Race Mayhem 32-car field for Pro Mod. There are a lot of Pro Mods out there now, but they have Pro Mod and Pro Nitrous. I think Pro Nitrous might be tough, depending upon. But you look at the money. Somebody might just switch it over just to run it. There's Pro Mods out there. 32 car for Pro Mod it's a little lofty, but looking at the money is I mean, you're getting $1,500 if you go out first round. Like,
and look, let's say you start at 32, but you don't get 32, you just knock it down to the next, number that makes sense.
right. True.
That's not strange. That's something that drag racing has done for a very, very long time.
Yeah.
And you just work that out. And I've been to events where we're going to have this car number field, and then they have that exact number, and they're like, nope, we're going to be sending people home. There will be qualifying, and you're not just making a field because you showed up. So, that might be something that comes into play. I would like to see, begin working on making fuel altered reality of the modern variety that we're seeing it, work on that.
Yeah.
And that would bring a different flair. And I think something that we're all waiting on right now is, what are the rules?
And what are we running to?
Obviously Galat's going to be 8th mile. There's just no way you're not doing 1,000. It's 8th mile drag strip. That's what it is.
So will they just do 8th all the way across, since you got a drag strip that is pretty much?
I doubt that. I doubt that, and I'm fine with that. I don't understand why drag racing. Let's have a couple of quarter-mile events. Let's go to 1,000-foot mark. Let's go to the 8th mile mark, and other forms of motorsports have different distances. Well, let's just work for the venue what makes the most sense. I'm fine with that. So, you're going to have a little bit of a wild card with the rules, okay? And, with Drag Racing Mayhem, I think when it comes to Top Fuel and Funny Car, you are going to find kind of copy and paste.
Yeah.
I'm more concerned, what are they going to do with Pro Mod? What are they going to do with like Top Sportsman, Top Dragster? What are they going to do with? Well, I think the IHRA could really make waves if they came up with a rules package that was favorable for the alcohol classes.
Agreed.
And if they treated them better, they would have cars.
Yep.
It boils down to treatment.
Yep. I mean, look at the money. I mean, the money is very, very good. I mean, you're looking at 9th through 10th, non-qualifier gets $1,000.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, I mean, if they can, I think 8-car field is intriguing. And if they can make them part of the show, like when we talk about the show, put them up with the same level as Top Fuel and Funny Car, give them that same clout. If they're treated well, the cars will be there. The money is very, very decent for what they're doing. And if they can do it well, there's plenty of those cars out there. And I think they could have solid fields and some people that would really sink their feet into doing it. And like we've said it before, I think they would be in the biggest part of the business when they decide to expand. I think, it's cool you got Top Fuel and Funny Car, but I would have led with those two classes, because you got to look at what can I do. And of course, it's all about it's a competition, and you want to be successful. And I think if you want to be successful, you lead with that, because you already know that those two classes are very disgruntled when it comes to the NHRA. And if you give them a great platform to be on, and you make them the show, it's a lot of winning that's going on for everyone in that department, including the IHRA. And I think that would be something that if I was ownership, I would lean into that, because we already know that if I can give them something more and give them something what they're missing with the NHRA, you could likely steal a lot of cars.
Yeah. So, well, it looks like about right now we've had an announcement like the past 2 weeks Okay, so I'm wondering what announcement will we not get this week, and they need, I think, at this point, an announcement very soon, very very soon, of what is the team and what is safety going to look like,
Right.
and
That's important.
those elements. Joey Haas, people were asking him about, hey, is this something that you and your team would be interested in doing? The team that won the Nitro Chaos Championship in 2024, they have a funny car that Mike Kern is tuning, who is the crew chief for TJ Zizzo, that they could very easily in their combination just lean on a little bit more, and they could qualify for NHRA national events. They just don't want to do that as of right now. They're building toward that. There's a possibility of that. And Joey is a very calculating and level-headed individual. He's like, look, it's a great schedule. Payout looks good, but we still don't have confidence in the IHRA and what is happening and what's going on. Yeah. So we definitely need to see who and how. And I think that needs to happen sooner than later. So they've got the schedule announced. I've already looked. I'm like, hey, I could possibly cover this event and be at this event, and certainly intrigued and would love to see this move forward and become a living, breathing entity that is strong and is competition in the best of way for those in drag racing and against the NHRA. But I think just get us news on the team very quickly.
Yeah, I think that's important. That, along with what you said, what's your safety going to look like? I think all of those things are important to get out there and get out there quickly, because I mean that's the backbone. That's the backbone of what's going to make this thing. And yeah, Mac 1320. I saw that May 9th when they dropped it, because I follow Maryland International Raceway. Saw that. I kind of shared that also on the Not Bland Show YouTube or Facebook page as well. Very disappointed that happened. But I think the two sides, whatever it is, not agreeing on whether they were bought, not bought, that whole thing, I think kind of blew that up. And that's unfortunate. That's one of the staples of IHRA when it comes down to events. There's no reason why that should have been canceled. And it's unfortunate that they couldn't come to some sort of agreement to get all that ironed out and so that event could go off. I'm very, very disappointed in that, and feel sorry for my Maryland brethren that they won't be able to have that event this year.
Yeah, again, just we need to get to a point where who are going to be the major players at these events. Naming the right race director can bring a lot of confidence. Okay. Naming the right tech director can bring a lot of confidence. And they've got the big announcement of what they intend to do. Okay, people can circle the calendar, but I don't think that calendar was circled in red ink. I think it was circled in pencil until the IHRA begins to put more meat on the bone of who is going to be a part of this.
Yeah.
And I still advocate for take the time as we get closer to the first race and have someone, whether it is owner or CEO, and have that 60-minute style or Dateline style, however, you're sitting down and really explain what went down from PRI to that first race.
Yeah.
I think in this day and time, transparency will go a long way.
Yeah, especially with the racers is what's
Yes.
most important.
Yes.
That's going to be huge And because people are clearly watching, people really want to be involved in that, and they're just kind of waiting for them to kind of roll things out and kind of give a little bit of honesty and be forthcoming with some of the things that have gone on over the this time span that we've been in. Because let's face it, July 9th is coming up very quickly.
Right, absolutely. It is not that far away.
No,
not at all. So
no, it's coming up quickly.
Yeah, there's a lot they got to get together. Is the safety crew going to be such that I'm confident to run my top fuel dragster or nitro funny car at a high level and go out there and compete, and other classes as well. Yeah. So I'm glad they gave us something, and not to be needy, but they got just strictly from a PR standpoint, they've got to continue to roll out more information. And like this week, it needs to be, race director, it needs to be tech department, they need to be getting this stuff rolled out. Yeah,
because it's not too far away before this first event. And you're right, Dave. I was thinking the same thing. Like, who's prepping the track? What's going on there? All those things are important to even getting this thing off the ground and getting the first event going.
Yes.
And nobody's gonna commit to anything until they can find out who they need to report to. Things have to, cars have to go through tech, all of that. So there's a lot that goes into this before we ever even get cars on the racetrack. So they've got to get those things ironed out quickly. July 9th is coming up quick.
Right. And, if you look at it right now, certainly you could email Christopher Egger, you could Doug Foley Jr., Stacy Kettles, Jeff Birchfield, David Evans. There are people to contact, but, what are these division directors? And mind you, the division directors, if you look, every single one of the division directors is handling multiple divisions. Well, what could they tell you?
Right.
Larry Morgan is on this list, but what is his role? Darcy Gribben is on this. What is the role? Just start giving us that information.
Yeah,
and I suspect this week there will be another announcement. I suspect that after this week there will be another announcement, and that would behoove them to do that and to continue to roll out those announcements as they have been. And again, a lot of people have got the date circled in pencil right now, I feel, and not in permanent marker.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of hard to make anything permanent when they haven't done anything to make it permanent. So you kind of have to, make things, in pencil until to be determined type of deal.
And we'll say, hey, great work already put in at Milan. Great work. They're showing photos. They are certainly put the work in, and updates are being made, and you've got a lot of cool things happening there at Milan, and that place is going to be the best that it has ever been, even though it was a nice facility even before purchased, and they began to put the work into it. So I like the schedule. I don't mind that they've got to work with what they've got, going to National Trail 2 times, Dragway 42 certainly deserves an event like this. And Galat, I've always said that, hey, if you're going to hold a nitro event and run 8th Mile, Galat's a place to do it. And, it is a part of the world that loves motorsports, whether that is from sprint cars to tractor pulling to drag racing to stock car racing, you name it. It is the Rust Belt does enjoy its motorsports.
Yeah. They got some good tracks to go to. I'm interested too, like in the future, how many races will they expand to?
Right.
What is a comfortable amount of races that you'll run I think they definitely need to, like we've talked about, do something different. You know, and they need to be mindful of the NHRA schedule, because I think you've got to leave that door open for people that may want to have that opportunity and may decide to bring their car over, whatever class that is. You got to be mindful of that NHRA schedule and try not to try for there to not be any conflict in that area, because there's a choice, and there's going to be, they have to make a choice. They're likely going to go to NHRA. And that doesn't say everybody does, you know what I mean?
Right.
Some of these people that have a little bit more money to be able to do that, they probably will. But those who do not will have that opportunity and will take that opportunity to race in IHRA, because it's like Chris said, it's a looks something like something that they can afford to do. Yep. And be able to race more.
Right. I think it is an ambitious schedule. I would have been fine with just 3 and get through this year. And taking a shot at 5, great. We'll see how it goes. And I don't think, even when we roll around to 2026, no more than 8. Look, you look at program. The IHRA is doing something right now that, wasn't really that much of an issue in its inception way back in 1960 something. Okay, we have the PDRA, you have the Northeast Outlaw Pro Model Association, you have Funny Car Chaos, you have Nitro Chaos, you have Midwest Drag Racing Association, you have so many places to race. So they are going to try to tread water in waters that already got a lot of boats out there. Okay.
Yeah.
To navigate. So, I applaud their efforts. Just keep giving us info, keep instilling confidence. I think that's what's got to happen at this point. True. Certainly there are diehards either way. They're like, I don't care what you do, IHRA, never going to go over there. And you got others that no matter what folly IHRA might do, they're going to say, give it time. Well, you've done right. You've given us this schedule. Now just keep giving us more information and keep building confidence from all of these incidents that took away confidence.
Yeah. That's going to be very important as we get close to the first event. So,
yes.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it, man. I really hope that this thing kicks off. The alternative is definitely needed. And I'd like to see that alternative to be able to be sustainable for the up and coming years, because I think overall it will benefit drag racing as a whole.
Yes, it absolutely will. Well, big weekend up at Chicago for the NHRA national event. And at that event, Top Fuel, Funny Car, Pro Stock Motorcycle, Pro Mod, they are competing along with Super Stock, Stock Eliminator, Super Comp, Super Gas, Top Dragster, Factory Stock Showdown, Top Fuel Motorcycle, and Factory X, with also some exhibitions such as, the outfit that Alex Taylor will be running with. So glad that NHRA Drag Racing back in that market and going to a super, super nice facility in Route 66 Raceway. And I certainly hope that this event continues to show NASCAR that they do not need to abandon the facilities that are there, because it's more than one in just the drag strip. You've got the oval, you got the dirt track, and the dirt track does got some action from what I understand. But I do hope that they're reminded and they see that these places are still important for motorsport endeavors.
Yeah, I hope so too. It's a place that doesn't. I think they have to find a way to utilize the facility a little bit more. And I understand, not all facilities can afford to have, weekend type things. for locals, every weekend. I understand that. So hopefully they can find some happy medium on that. But yeah, this is always a great event, kind of like Norwalk is. I really think it's a travesty that Pro Stock is not here.
Woo!
I really do. I think
people are really upset about
miss.
That one.
Yeah, that's a huge miss here, and that's taking nothing away from Pro Stock Motorcycle at all. That's not taking anything from Pro Mod, but I mean, you got 4 Factory X cars, and you couldn't find a way to get Pro Stock in there. I mean,
and look, Factory X is. I've lost all interest, and I was immensely interested when that class rolled out. But after the controversy with rules and rule enforcement, and now you don't even have, Blackbird and the Dodge program in there, it just lost all interest. And a lot of it has to do with business and the business that you have people in that world that they make more money off naturally aspirated than anything supercharged.
Yeah.
So it doesn't fit in the whole program. So why invest there?
Yep. Yeah. It's unfortunate. But yeah, I think I really wish Pro Stock was here, but they've got some decent fields. Unfortunately, they're still missing 1 bike there, only 15 bikes. I hate the fact that there's, I don't know what they got to do to get more people, to come out as far as bikes go. It's unfortunate that it seems like you're always a bike or 2 short. And got enough funny cars and enough top fuel dragsters. A lot of small teams showing up, especially in top fuel, showing up here for this race.
It's not far from the hub. I mean, it's just an easy ride for them.
Yeah, I think this is going to be fun. Really interested to see what they decide to do. This track's been sitting dormant for a year. Will they do what they did last year and just try to freshen up the old rubber that was on the track, or will they do something different? I give my thoughts on the whole thing. You can check the article that will drop on sportsjourney.com about the Route 66 Nationals tomorrow, 10 o'clock. That article will drop, but I'm very interested to see how this all plays out. I do think this is a race. When I looked at the weather and looked at the changing weather as we go through the weekend up to eliminations, this is going to play into the small teams' hands a little bit. I think it's going to give those who make a lot of horsepower a little bit of fits when you go from 85 degrees on Friday, mid 80s, down to 68 on for a high on Sunday, you're in the 50s that Saturday night. So eliminations start at 10:30. It's going to be a cool morning, and that's a big change when you talk about track conditions, temperatures, and all of that. It's going to be a very interesting eliminations day, and I think we see a little bit what we saw last year. We saw Dan Mercier go a few rounds. We saw some upsets early, and I think we'll see that again this year. Possibly, as we've seen all season, a unpredictable and a unsung hero type of winner instead of one of the big teams getting a win.
Well, remember, I believe it was last year. I think maybe it was 2 now, but you've had upsets in qualifying because of the field being as big as Brittany Force did not qualify for this event in the past. So got to be careful on that mark. Big teams can miss out in this program, and some of these part-time teams crack into the show and race on race day Sunday. Andrew, look, a lot of people are upset, and I have seen that. We alluded to that last week with TJ Zizzo. I get it that people are upset that the track's not open other times of the year, but I think it's better to have this national event and instead of not having anything and all the facilities that are there just turn into parking lots or be bulldozed and become warehouses. If you've got this one event, support it with all that you can, that it may grow to be more, and for those other facilities, or just lose them entirely. And sadly, the people who are complaining, they will be the ones, if that happens, that will say, well, we used to have a drag strip.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, you're right about that. You're right about that. I think you have to be happy with what you got. Of course, I think, and I would love to see more events there, but at least they are keeping the track open, and they are able to run this national event. And I don't know if too many other people, especially if there's a national event that doesn't come close enough to you and you're not able to travel to that, then you take advantage of what you got. It's sad that they don't have more, but it could be closed. So
it could be closed, and also it's not like it's the only drag strip. There are other drag strips, and I get it. Maybe you're in Joliet, maybe you're in the Chicagoland area, and that was right down the road, and now you've got to travel a bit further. Well, guess what? That's not unusual for a lot of people across the country.
Got that right.
When I was at MoCan this past week and announcing many of the bracket racers, that area is known as the 4 states area, because you've got 4 states and the point, with Kansas and Arkansas and Missouri and Texas and all of it, or Oklahoma rather, coming together. And you had several racers, all 4 states. There was a racer from Texas. Okay. Yeah. So it's not uncommon to drive a good bit to a drag strip.
Yeah.
And it fascinates me. I understand that it might have had that culture in the past, but having this one event is important, and support it. You all were clamoring for it. You got it. And now you're complaining. Some of you, not all of you, but some of you. And it's very strange. It's very odd.
It is.
Look, ZMAX doesn't have events beyond the national event.
Yep.
It doesn't even have regional or divisionals.
Yeah.
And I think one reason for that is because there's drag strips, a lot of drag strips right in that area, that if ZMAX had a weekly program, it probably would hurt them.
Yeah.
It would probably hurt a Mooresville
Dragway.
Dragway. It would probably hurt a Farmington Dragway. It would probably hurt a Wilkesboro. It would probably hurt a Shady Side. Some of those places to an extent.
Yeah, I agree. And that's good on them to realize that too and recognize that. So, want to keep the small drag strips open. So, I think you just have to deal with what you got. And it's not uncommon that people have to drive, and you at least get a national event at the place. So, that's good.
And you're also dealing with ownership that they're not drag racing centric.
Yeah, see, that makes a difference too.
Yeah, it's not a priority to them.
Yeah.
I can only imagine the conversations that happened years ahead of us getting that regional to then roll into having national events again.
Yeah.
Can only imagine.
Yeah. Scott, what do I think? What's my opinion on Pro Stop Bike? It's a complicated deal. Because you guys know I'm of the notion that I don't like penalizing people who work hard. But at the same time, they got to find a happy medium to get more bikes out there. And honestly, I don't really know what that is. And I talk to different people, and I talk to people who are small teams, large teams as well. And, I don't know. Sometimes it's treatment for some. I don't think the competition gap is that bad. It's just you have 2 teams in MSR and Vance and Hines who work hard, and that's what they do. That's their job. Like, they live, eat, breathe, sleep this thing. And there's people that work day jobs, and they come out and race on the weekends. And for some, it's just not a good return on investment for them to come out to these events and know that, I guess, feel inferior. I don't know if that's the right like mentality to have. Also, some people have day jobs, and those day jobs take precedence over them making national events at times. They have to weigh the options, and sometimes if they're busy at work, they have, big time positions at their day job. They're not able to pull away for these races that are out there in Seattle and on the West Coast. So it's a combination of things. I think the class is great. I think we're seeing some good bike racing, but we're seeing teams who do this full time, and they're doing that. They're working on their program in the off season. They don't have day jobs to pull away from when it comes down to those who work on these bikes. Not talking about the riders. Though they're always going to be ahead of those who have day jobs. It's just how it is. You know what I mean? It's kind of like pro stock was in the back in the day. You know what I mean? Some guys didn't have the full funding and all of that, and they worked day jobs. And the guys who lived and racing was their deal, they're always ahead of the game because they're working on it 24 hours a day. These people are working on it when they get an opportunity to. So I don't know what the happy medium is to get more bikes out there, because I don't think it's that expensive. Other than travel, I don't think running a bike is that expensive. I mean, if you can run some bikes in some of the other outlaw classes, I mean, it can't be any different. So I know rules and stuff play a role in that, but I don't know what that answer is, but I do think it is a good class. It's just not as healthy as we would like it to be. And I hate the fact that we don't at least have 16 bikes that show up to these events, and that we end up having buy runs. Sometimes, we have 2 buys. Somebody gets 2 buys because there's not enough bikes out there. And that's just unfortunate for a class that was, you look back, 5 years ago, maybe even 6 years ago, that was thriving. So it's unfortunate.
That it is. Ebbs and flows. We'll see what comes of it, and it may flow onward and upward, or it might continue to dwindle down to a trickle. Yeah. It's one of those things. You know what I mean? All of it. It's like what we're going to see with Top Fuel. That it will. Oh, Epping. I wonder. Let me take a look at the Epping entry list right now, because you look at this weekend and you're like, wow, Top Fuel is so healthy. Well, yes, there are those cars, but one reason you have so many there, or for Indy, or for St. Louis, or for Norwalk, is 12. It's within the hub. Right, 12 right now. There you go. But you got 17 funny cars. Well, interestingly enough, there is more of a contingency in the Northeast with some funny car teams, such as the New Englander. You got Dana Hard, the hard guys. Yeah. And that's something about funny car. Funny car still, to some extent, has got a regional flair to it, where I would say it seems like Top Fuel has really become around that hub. Now, then you've got, Clay Milliken and Doug Foley breaking the trend, and they've got 2 Top Fuel dragsters down in Race City, USA and Mooresville, North Carolina. Right. Obviously, Clay with Rick Ware Racing, but Doug Foley lives in Mooresville, North Carolina, and just got a new shop built. So, yeah. So there you go. I think right now on this list, your only 3 outsiders are Rit, Presteri, Dan Mercier, and Scott Farley. That's it. That's your outsiders. And your normal mainstays from Josh Hart, Clay Milliken, Tony Stewart, Sean Reed, Brittany Force,
Sean Langdon, Justin Ashley, Antron, and Doug. That's it. That's all you got. And that's probably all you're going to get is 12.
More than likely. More than likely.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. It's one of those events that stick out. It sticks out like a sore thumb. It is a haul, and folks don't want to make that haul. That's just all it boils down to.
Right. And I really wish they would. It's such a cool fan base. It's a neat place to race. It's something that I wish that NHRA would work on the marketing side, that it would become more appealing to go to that race for everybody some way, somehow. But, you know, that haul, it is a reality. It is farther than you think to go to Epping, New Hampshire.
Yeah, it is. It is.
I remember when I lived outside of Rochester, New York, it was still like 8 hours.
That's insane.
When I was in Roxborough, North Carolina, right below the state line of Virginia, it was like 14 hours.
Yeah, that's insane.
Now I'm in, Tennessee. Here, I'm curious. So home now. So I'm in Manchester, Tennessee to Epping, New Hampshire. Let's see how
probably
far.
18 hours.
It is 18 hours on the dot. That's what it is saying. It is saying 18 hours. Yes, 18 hours.
That's insane.
And for perspective, so let's give everybody, the inside scoop here of, Brownsburg, Indiana to Epping, New Hampshire. It is 15 and a half hours.
Yeah, that's a ride.
Right.
That's a ride.
15 and a half hours.
And talking about lessening top fuel teams. So, Jasmine and the Salinas' completely shut down operation. No longer running. I don't believe, I don't think this is a money issue. I think that Salinas is tired of running it out of his own pocket. And that's one. And I think it's bigger than just we don't have because of sponsorship. It's bigger than that.
Right. I agree with you. I think it is bigger than that. We have had Mike Salinas right here on the Competition Plus Power Hour making statements that, hey, he doesn't have to run his operation. He is doing, or he can go run elsewhere. He could do something different, all those type of things. So I think it's something similar to the Torrances. Okay. Why put up with it? Why do this? When people talk about Mike Salinas, I hear that there's a lot of zeros behind that name. So I don't know if it's really a money issue of going to do this. Maybe a money issue with just Jasmine doing it, because we also have had Mike on this show when I had Darren as co-host, and he's like, look, guys, never give your daughter your credit card. They need to have their own credit card. And I think that's wise advice. Okay?
Yeah,
but
definitely.
I think this is bigger than Jasmine finding funding or marketing partners. I think this is much bigger than that, whatever it is exactly. So, because you've got apparently that team is scuttled. I don't know how things have been liquidated, if they have been, or the car is for sale and it's on here or it's going there. But remember, this is more than one car, actually. Yes, because Travis Shoemake made the deal with them that car came under that fold, from what I remember, and that other people would hop in it from time to time, not just Travis, but also, Gary Pritchett, and also Julie Natus, for example, hopped in that particular ride. So you have that situation where they were beginning to look at and possibly field a second car, but now those two are completely out of play. And where will they go? Who might step up to go fuel racing?
Yeah, that's all going to be very interesting going forward. Unfortunate, but yeah, I like I said, I don't think it's just that simple. I think there's more to it than just that in reasoning. And it kind of brings up the question. Steve has got a different attitude, man. He's super chill, and he's like, I'm out here because I want to do it. And I think what happens when the second that he's like, you know what, I don't have to put up with this. I got too much to do with my business anyway. So I'm just going to park it. What happens then? And I think we've talked about it before too, that it's cool that people can do that and be able to have a business and be able to run NHRA Top Fuel, but it also is a hindrance when it comes down to other people attaining sponsorship, because those folks can run it out of their own pocket because of their business. And I think other partners and business partners that could be a part of the sport look at that. And I think there's a little bit of it gives a false pretense, I should say. And I think it hurts other racers who are looking for those sponsorships as well. But I have thought about that. That would be another car, and really you would be losing two. We haven't seen the other car out there at all, but they have the ability to bring another car. So that would still be two cars that would be leaving if Steve decided that, hey, you know what, I'm just going to focus on my business. I've got, family, and I'm going to focus on that. And, it was fun, but I don't really feel like putting up with this crap no more.
Right. And bigger picture, honestly, than cars. Rob Flynn's out of a job right now.
Yes.
Okay? Now I think somebody's going to pick Rob Flynn up. I don't see Rob Flynn being
who needs to
market too long.
Who needs to?
Who needs to?
Tony Stewart, ASAP. I'd have been on the phone with him yesterday. And here's my reasoning why. Strasbach, great. He could use another set of eyes. Rob Flynn's no joke, and I think he's one of the most underrated crew chiefs in the circuit.
Like I have said so many times, I will continue to say it. Rob Flynn was not the problem. Going back to Coletta Motorsports, I firmly do not believe that Rob Flynn was the problem, because you see him go over to Salinas and it picks up.
Yep.
Okay.
So if I'm Tony Stewart, I'm on the phone ASAP to get that. Now, good point here. Ron Capps could sit out the rest of the year, and Ron Capps could use him for Matty Gordon's top fueler next year. That would be great. Like I said,
he's not going to be on the market long.
I don't think so.
And not only just him, there are some very skilled crew members. Entire team, that might be a move for such as a Ron Capps and a Guido to go ahead and just
buy the whole daggone thing
working. But again, bigger than the cars is the people. There's people who have lost jobs.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. And that was a great team over there, and it showed. Jasmine was really making some headway. It's really unfortunate for her, but whoever it is should have been on the phone with Rob Flynn yesterday.
It's very frustrating. You have Jasmine doing as well as she was and certainly progressing. And also, remember, she is a regional champion in top alcohol dragsters. She does have success under her belt. And not only success as having her on the show and just talking with her and expressing. I think she also had the grit. She had a gnarly incident in the top alcohol dragster at Gainesville that I think if anybody went through that, you certainly would give them the, hey, peace out, don't blame you.
Yep.
But she decided to get back in a race car. And, you see that she's doing what she's doing, and the ride gets parked, and then you see Tony in the Craftsman Truck Series and in ARCA rides the back of the field and does, Sports Illustrated, but has all these followers and marketing partners and yet has no success. And it's just like,
it don't make sense.
Yeah.
Don't make sense. It really doesn't. It really doesn't. But yeah, whoever it is, I think it should be you, Tony. I really think it should be you guys, TSR, that makes that phone call. That's nothing against Strasbaugh at all, but that's a great mind that's not being used. That's a crew chief that can tune you to a championship. And the way that car's been running, there ain't never been a coaching staff with too many great coaches on it. And I'd be adding him to the team and try to push me over the edge to contend for a championship. You're right there right now in the points. Car's running well. Just need a little bit extra when it comes down to cold weather to be able to hit them home runs. That's your guy. And like I said, I don't know why he's not employed already.
Yeah. Look, he could go. I was just thinking here, Lance and Doug with Doug Foley doing a great job, but depending on that situation, maybe it's bring in a Rob Flynn. I just don't, unless Rob just wants to do something different.
Exactly.
I don't think he's going to be on the market very long.
No. Like I said, I don't, unless it's on his own accord, I don't know why he's not picked up already. Y'all had enough time. Somebody should have been made a phone call. Because I'm going to tell you right now, that's a guy, if you're starting a team with, that's who you start with. He is that crew chief. And I feel like people do not give him the respect that man deserves. That man is right up there with the rest of them and can tune his ass off just like the rest of them. And he doesn't get talked about enough.
Yes. No, I agree. And I think it's also just because Rob's a cool guy and a good guy and a kind of a humble guy.
Yeah,
and he's not out front. He's very humble. Like, I remember the first time I ever met him, I'm at Z-Max Dragway. I'm on the starting line waiting for Doug Foley to run, and the crew chiefs are doing their track walk thing. And he just walked up to me. He's like, "Hey, man, I like what you do and keep doing it. And thanks for the shows." And I'm like, and he's wearing Mac Tool stuff, because he's still with Coletta. And I'm like,
yeah.
Who are you? And I'd never seen a photo. I mean, I had never seen a photo. I hadn't noticed something on TV, nothing. And he's like, "Oh, I'm Rob Flynn." I'm like, oh, I'm a dummy. Gosh, So, I don't, unless he just wants to do something different.
Yeah.
Rob's not going to be without a place to put that tool chest somewhere.
Yeah. And you don't have to brag. You don't have to brag, Rob. I got you. I'm front running for you. I'm letting folks know that you are that dude.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Rob Flynn was not the problem. I should have made T-shirts years ago. I should have made T-shirts. Might have sold some.
Yeah, definitely.
No, absolutely. Well, Dujay, look, I just want to close out very quickly. This past weekend, I got a taste for the first time ever of street outlaw characters. I had met Farm Truck and Asian before, but Dominator, Doc, Monza, those names, Clay Cole, were at Mocan Dragway this past weekend for an inaugural event, the John Cotton Roofing 405 Outlaw Shootout. And I've got to say, there are some great fan interactions at the NHRA, for sure. Legendary. So John Forrest, Jack Beckman does a great job. But the people that Doc, Dominator, Monza are apparently, every time I got out of the tower and walked to get information or talk or just see the lay of the land, they were interacting with the fans. And when they weren't interacting with the fans, they were working on the race cars. So from that standpoint, I can kind of understand just a bit of what I was told from Alex Laughlin. It's interesting that we're coming up on Chicago. It was last year, if I remember correctly, and Alex Laughlin is prepared to race in the Blackbird in the factory X class, and he'd already done some street outlaw things. And I just said, what's it like over there? And he made mention that the competitors are just more down to earth, and it's not as cutthroat, and it's a better environment. I was like, wow, okay. And honestly, from my experience this past week, that seems to be the case. There were those that were very open about their combination, and those that were not so open about their combination, they played it off in a fun way.
Yeah.
And, like, for example, Clay Cole, he's like, well, not really hiding anything, but it's a 595 Proline Hemi with an undisclosed centrifugal supercharger. There might be a shot of nitrous, and there might be a certain percentage of nitromethane in the tank. I like that. That's cool.
Yeah, that is cool.
And others were like, it's a Hemi, and just the stories behind some of the cars, like Dominator, for example, his machine it's not a pro mod. It's an old bracket car that has been modified to what it is now. And they understood burnouts past the Christmas tree and making time for fans. And it was a positive experience. And because of the nature of that class, it was a run what you brung class. The only rules was it must have steel roof and steel quarters. Some interesting cars and truck, mind you, rolled in. For example, one guy had like a 1995 GMC extended cab truck on nitrous, if I remember correctly. And this thing wasn't like a fiberglass front end with fiberglass doors. It was all steel. Like if you could throw the toolbox in the back and dent the bed type of scenario.
That's
okay.
insane.
The hood was steel.
That's insane.
And it was just cool.
Yeah, that's cool stuff. I like seeing stuff like that.
The class, I mean, you've got Roger Martinez. He brought his turbocharged rotary powered Mazda to the show and loved those cars. He just could not get it to shift into third and obviously beyond, but he had a competitive car. But my first taste of some of these street outlaw type of individuals up close and personal, they definitely have something. I can see why the at track experience, even with them, would be appealing to fans.
Yeah. That's always where I think a lot of other forms of racing could take a few clues from them. I think that those little things really help out the whole entire product. Really gets fan engagement, but it really helps out too when it comes down to the media side of things as well. I just think all those things play a role and really would help a lot if others would pick that up.
Yeah, very approachable. I didn't have to go through no PR person as the announcer to talk to anybody, that type of thing. And they gave info, and they had work to do. Like Doc, he unrolled the car, and they're like, "Hey, we busted the rear end, and we still haven't got to work on it. We're going to work on it right now." But went over the combination, and same with Dominator and Monza. Many of these other guys, and I will say, Farm Truck and Asia, they're really cool dudes overall. You always wonder, like people on TV and in TV shows, and Farm Truck and Asia, they're the real deal. They're cool dudes. And I can see why when you just even look at the cars, steel roof and quarters. I mean, I remember that when that was a thing, like everything was steel roof and quarters. Yep. And, in that field, you had a truck, you had a Vega, you had a Chevy 2, you had a hatchback Nova, a 74 Nova, you had a Camaro, you had a Dart, you had a Mazda, you had you had a Fox body Mustang with a big old blower sticking out of it. I mean, man, that's wow.
Yeah, that's a good combination.
I like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, it kind of it reminded me of what Pro Mod used to be way back.
Yeah,
to some
before
extent.
it became Pro Camaro.
Honestly, yes. So, man, it was a good show. Good show. And
that's awesome.
Mocan Dragway, ladies and gentlemen, I know it's a small drag strip kind of out in the middle of nowhere in the Four States area of, in this case, Asbury, Missouri, and the track is butted up right against the Kansas state line. But if it is for this event or a Nitro Chaos or a Funny Car Chaos or some other big event they hold there, if you can get to Mocan Dragway, it is worth your time as a drag racing fan. There is something special. Dujane, I'm telling you, there's something special about that fan base. We were 2 hours from cars hitting the track, and there were already people sitting in the stands, already people putting their fold-out chairs on the fence, already people there milling around, and a good crowd. And by the time it came to race time, absolutely packed for a small track. Stands down the camping line on the fence.
Yeah.
The line to meet Farm Truck and Asian wrapped around like 3 times. I mean, it was packed. They just have a fan base that loves drag racing. And it's so fascinating when you go to somewhere that is truly invested and then you go somewhere that is not. You can tell the difference.
Oh,
you can tell the difference.
Yeah. Yeah. That's good. It's always good places to be when you have that kind of fan interaction and the passion for, racing. It's always good to be at those places. Absolutely.
Well, Dujane, anything else tonight?
No, man, I think we covered it for the most part. Yeah. Well, one more thing. What is it looking like for Southeast Gases Association and the race out there in Woodstock?
Well, the next race right now is Knoxville. No word on rescheduling. And really the only open window would probably be sometime in July. It'd be a hot race, but nonetheless, that would be about it. And if it does not get rescheduled around that time period, we're looking at a cancellation of that event, sadly, and the season will go to a 9-race championship season. Still a great amount of races, but man, that was going to be a big one. Had Southeast Gas Association drag racing in Alabama for 2, 3, maybe 4 years. So there was a lot of hype for that race and just did not work out. And the call was the right call on both weekends.
Yeah, definitely.
It was the right call. There was no chance to get any racing in.
No.
Like, even if you were going to race on Sunday, the weekend before, it didn't happen. And then Mother's Day, it wasn't going to happen with weather and everything involved. So it was the right call. And I'm thankful that, look, just got to say, providentially, thank the Lord where I'm at in this time of my life and what I'm doing, didn't go Southeast Gassers Association race and still got a call from Chris Graves and Carl Blanton to come announce their drag race. And what an honor to do that and announce a first ever event, a historical event, where Clay Cole later on goes and resets the track record on both ends of the record with after winning 10,000 in the shootout. So you got a rare glimpse of what those cars are capable of doing, because it was a no-time event. He came out and put the clocks on and reset the record on both ends of it. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. I'm glad you were in attendance for that. That's great.
It was good, man. It was good.
Yeah.
I didn't see any ears bleeding, so it was okay.
That's good.
Well, folks, thank you for tuning in here to the Competition Plus Power Hour. We've almost brought you 2 hours worth of yakking about drag racing. Thank you to our guests, Chris King and first ever time Alex Taylor on the show. Being able to chat with her, a great conversation there. You can catch them both at Route 66 Raceway for the Gerber Collision and Glass Route 66 Nationals up there in Chi-Town. Thank you all for watching. Over there is Mr. Dujane Bland. I'm Lee Kraft, aka the Monday Morning Racer. Until next time, God bless. Keep the pedal to the metal. Did you have video?
Yeah, I can go with one. Let's do
Go
that.
with one.
Drag racing fans, check out Drag Race Bracket Bonanza. It's the free, family-friendly fantasy bracket game. Now, after final qualifying at every national event, you can fill out your bracket for all the pro classes.
It's free, easy to click on your picks. If you need some help, just hit the randomizer button to fill in the blanks. It's for fun, stay engaged, and pick your winners today.
QuarterMileClassifieds.com is a new and easier alternative to online classified advertising. We make it a simple experience with $20 getting your car, hauler, engine, or parts listed for 2 weeks. If you want to make a bigger splash, we have VIP listings that provide even more exposure, including social media. On QuarterMileClassifieds.com, you get up to 10 photos of video and up to 2,000 characters to deliver the message you need to make the sale. QuarterMileClassifieds.com is a trusted classified ad partner of Competition Plus and the Roof Tech Top Eliminator Bonus Fund. Visit QuarterMileClassifieds.com today.